So, just real quickly, I want to talk about something I heard. I hear quite a few people, they think it's humble to kind of speak about all of their, I'll say, flaws, right? Society has grown programmed people to feel like it's being humble to kind of focus on your flaws. And what I mean is, there was a person who years ago, it was a man, and he talked about false humility, and I see this happen when people do this a lot. Okay, true enough, you don't want to go around talking about everything you've done for people. You don't want to go around talking about, like, say, if you volunteer at homeless shelters, if you make a lot of food and take it to people's houses, or you get toys for children. Yes, true enough, you don't want to constantly brag on those things that you do. Okay, but it's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself for doing those things either, especially for being able to be fortunate enough to do those things. That's a big reason to feel good about yourself, because you are you had that mean for you to be able to do all of those things, to actually have the time, that means your cup is overflowed, or is at least full or close to full or something. And so it's good to be proud to be able to extend yourself in that way. Okay, because that means that your life is stable enough to help somebody else. But what I hear a lot, and I just heard another person do this, and it just reminded me. One person was like, if you're such a good person, you don't have to get online talking about how much you do for people and all the things that you do for people. Well, don't get me wrong, that's true. But at the same time, this person was like, after this person said that, then they said, sometimes I wonder why people like me. I just wonder what people see in me. And that's to me, that's false humility. That's false humility. You have to... It's no way that this person doesn't know anything good about themselves. So, just because you don't want to walk around bragging on yourself every 2 seconds to people, every time you do something that might be, a good thing for humanity, yeah, you don't want to brag on that every time you do something, every time you feed a cat, every time you pet a dog. Of course, you don't want to go around and just constantly pat yourself on the back, constantly looking for somebody to pay you a compliment. Yeah, but at the same time, don't turn around and say, well, I wonder why people like me. I mean, sometimes I just wonder. Sometimes I just feel like, I shouldn't be loved. That false humility. That's not a good thing either. That's not a good thing. That's not good things to come out of your mouth. That's not good to let come out of your mouth. You shouldn't let that come out of your mouth. To say, why do people like me? Why do people watch me? Well, why do I have this? Well, what did I do to deserve this car? Well, what did everybody else do to deserve their car? What did everybody else do to deserve a family? What did everybody else do to deserve friends? Nobody else deserves what they got probably any more than you do. So that's what I'm talking about, that false humility. Like, just because you're not perfect means that you're just supposed to go straight to hell. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Everybody have some flaws on them. Okay? But anyway, I just want to stop it there, because it just made me think about that all over again, how society feels like they have to put themselves down in order to seem humble in other people's eyes. Like, in order to seem humble, you have to feel like you have to put yourself down and concentrate on your flaws and, air out your flaws to the world, but you don't want to air out your strengths. What's wrong with that? Okay, so what if you do have a habit of going 2 times out the week, and you able to go to people's houses and help them, you able to help the sick? What is wrong with... See, here's the thing. Here's what people got it backwards. Why is it wrong to say those things? Okay, because aside from just trying to pat yourself on the back, because sometimes when people do that, it's not always about patting yourself on the back. But why is it acceptable to to put yourself down? And it's called humility when you constantly try to find the negative in yourself. But the minute you want to talk about good things that you have done, then it's like, well, you shouldn't tell anybody. You should keep it to yourself. If you're such a good person, you shouldn't tell anybody. Okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about narcissistic, arrogant people. I'm not talking about that kind of personality where somebody's always looking for a compliment because they might always need those affirmations from other people. They constantly need it. I'm not talking about these type of personalities. What I'm saying is that why is it okay to focus on your flaws like that and call it humility? Like saying, oh, well, I'm not perfect. I just did this yesterday. I just ran a red light. I'm not perfect. I forgot to pay a bill the other day. I'm not perfect. It's okay to constantly say those things. It seems like it's acceptable, and people call it being humble. People call it being humble. But then the minute you want to focus on some good qualities about yourself, how you might have a 720 credit score, how you are able to go and maybe help a couple of kids out at the foster home, how you are able to, maybe fly around the world and do different things. And if you decide to talk about those things too, then you're wrong for it. See, that's what I'm talking about. It's just that's that balance that needs to happen again. And I'm in it with calling it that false humility. I heard a person say this a while ago. It was years ago, over 10 years ago. How he explained this type of thing called false humility. You don't have to put yourself down and focus on your flaws and constantly talk about what's wrong with you to make people to look good in people's eyes, because that's what you're doing too. That's kind of a passive way to try to get people to say good things about you when you put yourself down. It's almost like you're kind of looking for people to reaffirm that you're a good person. When you put yourself down and say, well, I don't know why people like me. Why do you people watch me? Because this person is a big YouTuber. They have over a million subscribers. So when you say, well, why do you guys watch me? Well, that's false humility, because you're just looking for people to come under your comment section to say all these good things about you and reaffirm that you're a good person and you deserve to be loved. So what's wrong with this other person that like to focus on their good qualities? What's wrong with that if you're going to put yourself down only just to look for compliments anyway? You're putting yourself down just so you can look for compliments anyway. So what's wrong with the other person that they go straight to saying good things about themselves and talk about all their good qualities? What's wrong with them knowing that? Okay? So anyway, I just felt like talking about that because that is a problem. People expect you to look down on yourself. I noticed that, and there is a fine line between being conceited, being arrogant, being narcissistic. There is that fine line between having confidence, feeling good about yourself, and then you move into arrogance and narcissism. Now, it is a fine line between that. That's why balance is so important, and it's not an easy thing to do. Balance is not necessarily easy. For some people, it takes work. But anyway, that'll be it, and I'll talk to you soon.